Hello again, I am Blunty, and a big thank you to those of you who gave the new player hints and tips quick start type of guide video I put up yesterday tremendous reception. I was pretty happy with how that video came out, and seems like it's going to be very, very useful to a lot of you out there, so thank you for your warm reception. Now, off the back of that video, I did receive a couple of questions about builds. What is the best build? What build should a newbie go for? That kind of question. And there is no one answer. Fallout 4 can be played with a tremendous variety of different builds, from anything from your basic, stealth assassin to a tank build to a melee guy, and a whole bunch of way more complex and esoteric type builds. If you ever look around on YouTube, you'll find all kinds of crazy ass gimmick builds as well. So I thought, instead of just handing you a build and saying, here, use this, it'll be strong, and just letting you run with it, I wanted to walk you through a little bit about how building a character in this game works, so you can make some of your own decisions when you are watching those build guides or something. You know what, that's not for me, but I'll take this bit, I'll use this bit. Basically, I just want to give you the basics so you can make a more informed decision about what might feel right to the type of gameplay that you usually gravitate towards. Or maybe you'll do a build that goes in the opposite direction just to challenge yourself. So, when you first start Fallout 4, you're going to be presented with a choice, and that is to assign your special points. This is strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. They all affect various things in the game. Strength will directly affect your melee damage and your carry weight. And yes, there is an over-encumbered system in this game, and yes, it can be very, very annoying. So you might want to pay particular attention to strength if you don't like dealing with that. Perception affects VATS accuracy, VATS, Vault Assisted Targeting System, or some Vault Ticket. What is that? What is the acronym? I'll put it on the screen. That thing. Basically, that's your slow down time auto-aiming thing, so you can specifically target heads or limbs or bodies. Very, very useful, very, very fun, but you don't even have to use it at all in the game. You can play it like a regular shooter if you really want. The shooting mechanics in Fallout 4 are pretty decent. Endurance here affects directly your maximum hit points and your action point spending. Now, if you're not familiar with Fallout, action points can be thought of as stamina, basically. Very, very similar to stamina in a lot of other games. You need to do certain things like sprinting and targeting in VATS and things like that, how many shots you can take in VATS, and it regens automatically slowly over time. C, charisma. This is your speech check persuasion chance stuff. It affects some settlement building stuff as well, including the size of your settlements. So if you like building little townships, that might be worth thinking about. It also affects buying and selling prices at various vendors in the game. Intelligence directly multiplies how quickly you can gain XP and how easy hacking things are. Agility affects how many maximum action points you have, your maximum AP, how quickly it refreshes. It affects your ability to sneak and your ability to pickpocket if you pick up that particular skill. And luck most directly affects your critical hit recharge chance. A very high luck means you can do a hell of a lot of criticals, and criticals only work in VATS. So luck and perception often go together in VATS builds, for example. So these all start off with 1 point in each. You have 21 extra points to spend, so 28 points in total, and you can distribute these however you like, in whatever combination you really like, depending on what sort of build you're going for. Now, this is why I'm on this page here. This is the Nukes and Dragons build thing. They've got build guides for a lot of Bethesda games up there, as you can see there. Even some non-Bethesda games, but related to Bethesda, like the Outer Worlds. These are really great systems to explore different builds. Down below here are all the different perks you can select in the game, many of which have multiple levels, and that number above them is what level you'll need to have to unlock the next stage of this perk. So you need to be level 9 to get the second level of Hacker, for example. Ba-boom. Now, the way this chart works, and this Nukes and Dragons thing is a lot clearer than it is in the game, basically they're vertical columns. So all of these ones here have to do with strength, and the more strength points you have, the further down this list you can reach. See how these got little dotted outlines around and this one doesn't? I don't have enough strength points to get strong back in this particular build if I've only got 5 in strength, for example. So that all makes sense, right? Strength is all these vertical ones down here, and these are the different levels you need to activate each stage of a particular perk. So if you want maxed out Iron Fist, you'll get it at 46. But you don't need any more than Strength 1 to actually get any of that. Now, with that in mind, you can come along to this website and have a play with this. You can read through the descriptions. You can sort of Google for wiki articles on them if you want further information, but they're all pretty straightforward. Some of these do have slightly hidden effects and things like that as well. You don't tend to need to worry about those too much. But yeah, my recommendation would be to come here, have a read through each one of these and see if it sort of fits in with a playstyle you would be more familiar with. If you like stealth, for example, the ninja perk can be incredibly powerful when maxed out. Your ranged sneak attacks do 3.5 normal damage and your melee sneak attacks do 10 times normal damage when you max it out, which is crazy powerful with just the right build lent towards sneaking and stealth and such, and melee even. Because this 10 times can stack with the melee boost, Iron Fist. So if you're doing stealth punching attacks, double damage there, 10 times down there. You can see how these things can start playing together. Pickpocket is a really fun one, for example. You can steal things out of people's pockets, just like you can in Skyrim if you've played that, but you can also put things in people's pockets, like grenades, for example, which is a very fun playstyle. You've got specific things for specific weapon types. Gunslinger for your non-automatic pistols, for example. Rifleman for your non-automatic rifles. Commando for your automatic weapons. Scrounger to increase the amount of ammunition you can find in containers. All of these are very, very useful in various ways. You can, if you like, build a generalist build, which only has a low tier pick in a lot of these things, and so you can use any weapon you pick up and everything. And you can be quite survivable in Fallout 4 with that. Or you can specialize in one or two weapon types, which means you can be very, very powerful, like I was talking about before with that stealth punching build, for example. There are also some things which affect how your crafting works in the game. Armor, for example. You can max that out at level 39, and doing so grants you access to rank 4 armor mods, which can be very, very powerful. There's also a gun nut one, which is the same kind of thing, but for guns. There is also another one for energy weapons. That's down here with science, so now we've got rank 4 high-tech mods for your energy weapons and stuff. There are very few things on this skill tree that are just not worth having in some kind of build. In general, though, you could probably avoid stuff like Vans, which is of very limited use, and it's kind of buggy anyway. It's supposed to sort of guide you to the next target on your questing thing. Skyrim has a similar magic spell, but it doesn't work that well, really, I'm going to be honest with you. I think you'll struggle to find anybody saying, hey, this is my commando build or something that, uses this, because you just don't need it. Leadbelly is another one you could probably safely avoid. It sounds good, protects you from diseases and radiation from eating stuff, but quite frankly, there's enough non-irradiated food around, you don't need to worry about this. Also, cooking raw food tends to get rid of the radiation anyway, so you can probably leave off Leadbelly as well. Aqua Boy and Aqua Girl. You'll find a lot of people recommending this because it sounds pretty good. You no longer take radiation damage from swimming in dirty water, and you can breathe underwater. That unlimited breathing underwater. And then you can become totally undetectable while submerged if you take the second level at 21, which you'd think, well, for a stealth character, I can hide in the water permanently. It's fantastic. But quite frankly, level 1 itself is kind of useless because you can protect yourself from radiation with an environmental protection suit. So if you need to cross a big river or something, you put on the suit, you swim across, you take your suit back off, you put your armor back on. And as for breathing underwater, there is a special kind of food you can cook, which is not hard to come by, and it gives you 30 minutes of underwater breathing. So you can forget Aqua Boy and Aqua Girl as well. Rad resistance, probably not worth it as well, because there's plenty of stuff you can find to get rid of radiation damage when you accrue it. So protecting yourself from it in the first place, not really something you need to worry about too much. But I think pretty much everything else on the list here has a pretty good use case for it. Different people have different opinions about what is and what isn't worth it when it comes to this sort of stuff. But again, I would just suggest you take a read through these, see what sounds like it appeals to you and the playstyles you tend to be attracted to, and then sort of figure out how far down the list it is, and then figure out how many points you need to distribute to get there and what you need to sacrifice in other stats in order to get your favorite perks up and running, and just give that a go. You can save the absolute min-maxing perfect build run for your second or third playthrough. The first time through, make your own choices, have a play. You can't take too many bad turns. Again, even as a generalist, even with a kind of all-over-the-place build, you can still get through the game just fine. I did on my first try. I didn't follow any build guides. I knew nothing about the game when I first started playing it. I was completely blind to going in. I was just making stuff up as I went along. Oh, this sounds good. This sounds good. I love this. I love this. I love this. My original build is garbage if you look at it with, hindsight of what I was doing, but I still managed to get through the game. I still finished the main story quest and, didn't have any big issues or anything. So take a look and have fun. Now, your companions. You can have one companion at a time. Each different companion you can find in the world has a different perk they can give you. For example, Dance, which you'll meet fairly early on. Having him as your active companion means you can do 20% more damage against irradiated ghouls, super mutants, and synths, because the faction that Dance is a member of don't like those things very much. Curie, one of my personal favorite quest lines for the companions. She's a combat medic, basically. So you get a 100 hit point heal as soon as your hit points go below 10%. She's very good for high survivability. If you're doing a VATS build using VATS a lot, you might want McCready, because he boosts you 20% to get headshots in VATS. That is huge if you're playing a VATS sniper, for example. So again, have a read through these, see what appeals to you, and then have a quick Google about how you start the quest to unlock any specific friend here. Or you can just sort of wait until you naturally come across them in-game. That's fun too. None of these are really hard to find. Well, a couple might be. Next up, the thing you need to know is you can find bobbleheads in the world. Little Vault Boy bobbleheads. They're small, so they can be easy to miss, but they're not hard to recognize once you spot them. In fact, very early in the game, you will find a perception one. It's very, very difficult to miss. So each time you pick up one of these, you gain a +1 into a certain stat. And that is on top of the numbers you've already assigned. So for example, in the build I'm fiddling with right now, thinking about my new build, I'm going to start out with 1 perception, but I'm eventually going to get to 4. And one step to doing that is by picking up the perception bobblehead early in the game. There is one more one-off way to boost a particular special stat, and that is if you follow my advice in the video I published yesterday about looting everything in your original hometown as you pass through it on your way to the rest of the game, you will find a thing which will let you boost any one of these of your choice. I'll give you a hint. You find it in what used to be your own home. Other bobbleheads can give you other special effects that have nothing to do directly with your special points, like the lockpicking one makes lockpicking easier. Sneak one makes you harder to detect, all that kind of stuff. So you might want to keep an eye out for these, or even find a guide that will tell you where to find the most important ones to you, or maybe all of them. For your first playthrough, I would probably just hope to find them in the wild. It will make you a better explorer if you're on the lookout for this kind of stuff. Similar to bobbleheads, there is also magazines. You can pick up magazines in the world and give you a boost in very specific ways, like the Tumblers Today magazines you can find. There are several to find, and each one you pick up gives you a bonus in lockpicking. These are all useful. There's not one of them that isn't worth having. Some are more useful than others. For example, Live and Love, number 4, gain 25 XP from persuading women. There actually aren't that many women with dialogue persuasion choices in the game, so that's not going to be something that triggers very often, but if you find it, you find it. It's a freebie, whatever. Lastly, there are quest perks, and some of these are specific to certain DLC packs, but some are in the base game as well, so have a look at those. If something strikes your fancy, have a Google for the name of it and find out where it lives. The last thing Nukes and Dragons will do is give you a basic leveling roadmap. You do not have to follow this. It is not a foolproof sort of system. It just gives you a general guide of when certain things start to unlock for you. So at level 9 here, that's when you can pick up the second level of Iron Fist, for example. So that might be a good time to pick it up. You don't have to pick it up at that point. You can choose something else that you might have available to you. But yeah, this will give you a general idea about what unlocks at when, what you've selected up above there. So I believe I've explained all that in a sensible way that will make sense to most people. Up the top here, you can see what your currently chosen stats and things will do to your character overall. So my carry weight, because I've got 3 in strength, is currently 230. If we pop that up a bit, you can see it goes up. Again, strength directly affects carry weight. How big your population could be in your settlements. If we take charisma down, you can see that dropping down. VATS accuracy XP and critical meter, hit chance if we pump up luck. There it goes again. So yeah, you can get a sort of general idea of your overall character up the top there, and how your special stats have directly affected certain key parts of your build outside of whatever perks you're picking up. So yeah, now that you've got a basis in how this all works, you understand it a little better, you can make some informed choices, you can watch some build guides and see the kind of choices they're making and why they might be making them. Hopefully this has been helpful. I am Blunty. Thank you as always to the patrons scrolling up above there, and I will catch you next time.